Tuscany, that famous region of Italy, known for its rolling hills, medieval cities, Renaissance art, ancient culture, and delicious cuisine. For most North Americans, it's a once-in-a-lifetime vacation spot. But an increasing number are choosing to make Tuscany their new permanent home and leave the rest behind. These are the stories and the new dream homes of 5 North Americans who have done just that.
Hi, I'm Sarah. I'm from Calgary, Canada, and I bought a home in Pitigliano, Tuscany, Italy. I had spent quite a lot of years as a professional actor, trying to kind of live this life as an artist in a place that I felt was really much more of an economically driven, sort of industrial minded place. So I had actually taken 2 months out of Canada and come to Italy to study Tuscan food history. And during that time is exactly when the pandemic hit. So I had taken a train out of Florence and I'd gone towards Sicily, and everything was sort of shutting down as it followed me. So when I arrived in Canada, it was full pandemic, full shutdown. Being in a place where you just come from something wonderful, where you felt at home, to going back to being completely alone with no career anymore, I think it just made sense. It's like, well, now what? And I thought, well, I've spent my life dreaming about doing this. What's to stop me? And 2 years later, almost to the day that I signed the paperwork for this house and moved here. There you go. And it is still a little bit surreal, I'll be honest. This is my living space and kitchen and dining area. The kitchen was a little bit different when I got the house. So luckily things are inexpensive enough that I was able to renovate the whole kitchen and get all the parts of it that I wanted. Over here we have some of the furniture that was left in the house. These pieces are original to the family that built the house. And this desk in particular is very interesting. It's from the 1700s. This is my balcony where I get to grow all of my plants and of course hang out the laundry every day. Here we have one of the views and also a lot of the sunshine because this is the south. When you open the windows, you can hear the birds every morning. It's quite nice. This is a heating system in Italy. It's called a stufa, and that is a pellet stove. Next, we're moving into the part of the house that's very old. From here onwards, this house is from the 1220s. Here we have the bathroom. Now this will be the next renovation project. And then we come up to the next level, which has the 2 bedrooms. So, this is the smaller bedroom. And then if you sneak around the corner, you get one of the other views, which is really interesting. It's a bit more of the old town, so you can see down what's called a vicolo. And then we will go to the master bedroom. But first, I'll show you something special. So with the house not only came the furniture, but they also left these original photographs of Pitigliano that are circa 1910. And so these are very special. I like to keep them on display all the time. And this is my room. I can't imagine living anywhere else now. Okay, so my life day to day in Pitigliano generally consists of waking up and throwing open the curtains because I love to see the sunshine. It's very sunny here. I will probably do a load of laundry like most of us do, and then we hang it out on the line in time for the sun to come around and hit the balcony. Every day I go up to the piazza, we sit outside. It'll be either with friends or my partner Gianluca, and we talk for, I don't know, half an hour, 45 minutes. And then I will either go to work or take a walk, usually, because we're very close to nature here. So being able to just 5 minutes, leave the door and go and be in the forest is something that is really important. So in terms of like cost of living. I understood that coming here would be less, probably, but I was not prepared for how much less. I think it does make a difference that I'm living in a smaller area. I think if I was living in the center of Milan or or Florence, I think it would be obviously expensive. But there are some basic things that are just not. Every time I go to the grocery store, even if I buy organic products, it is like half of what I would have paid in Canada. But if we talk about prices for things other than food, so the price for the house, it was doable for someone like me. An artist living on that kind of living in Canada would never be able to accumulate enough to make a down payment for a home or a condo in Calgary. It wouldn't happen. You'd have to be two people together or more, I think. Here, I was not only able to come up with a down payment, but I was able to pay outright for this house. I used to describe to people, obviously making a big decision, a big change like this, people ask you lots, how is it? Did it go okay? What do you feel now that you've spent some time there? And I say, okay, well, my happiness scale before was like here to here. And so this was the top. And now it feels like it starts here and goes, who knows at this point, right? So the basis of like a bad day here is already in the top, 30% of what it was before. So yes, I think my quality of life is intensely improved.
I'm a pharmacist by profession, and between owning and working in a community pharmacy, a hospital, working at the University of British Columbia, teaching internationally educated pharmacists, some from Italy. When I retired from there, I decided that it was time to follow my dream, so to speak, which was to come back to Italy. For some reason that I can't explain, I've always felt like I arrive in Italy and I feel like I've come home. So it just felt natural to be coming here. It was interesting. I had a conversation with my accountants to say that, okay, I have this possibility now. I have three options. I could, follow the visa rules, 90 days out of every 180. I could rent my place and find another spot in Italy, or sell my place and move to Italy. And his immediate response was, sell your place. And my immediate reaction was, that's exactly what I wanted to hear. Let me show you my new home in Arezzo. I was extremely lucky to find an apartment for rent that is this beautiful, and just let me show you around. When I walked in to start with, it just blew my mind. The light, the ceilings, this is an apartment from approximately the early 600s. Nobody knows the exact date, but a lot of the original features are still here. Beautiful high ceilings, lots of space. And as you can see, the walls are extremely thick. And when it comes to hanging things on the walls, that becomes a bit of a difficulty, but one can overcome things like this with the right expert to help you do it. The apartment came furnished, and it has some nice solid pieces that go well with the few things I had shipped over from Canada. The ceilings are typical Tuscan style. In this room and in the adjoining bedroom, they have been painted to give more light and a feeling of coolness during the summer, because of course it gets quite hot here. Again, solid thick walls, but lots of storage space with built-in cupboards here, and a nice window. It's beautiful when it's got a nice breeze blowing and gives a great view of the countryside. And of course, the pièce de résistance, the kitchen with these marvelous windows, and the terrazzo. This could have been a hovel and I would have taken it because of the terrazzo. Fortunately, it's not. But it's inside the city walls, but in a nice, peaceful area. It's really quiet in here. It's almost as if I'm in my own private garden, that the work of others has been done for me. Why did I choose Tuscany? Because I'd lived here before, and I really liked it, and it was home. I chose Arezzo because Siena has become too much of a tourist location and I did not want to live there. But Arezzo is on the train line. I can be in Florence in an hour. I can be in Rome in an hour and a half if I take the fast train. Nice size, you can walk it easily, lots of green space. The people here are very, very simpatico. It's just, yeah, it's, you know, just you walk anywhere and before you know it, you're in the middle of a conversation and it just happens organically. Shopping for local produce, there's a number of options. There is a farmer's market on Wednesdays and literally local producers bring their produce in and I buy fresh yogurt, cheeses, get my eggs there usually. Fruit and vegetables, not so much because I do that at the market on Saturday. They have their own produce, it's local, and you know what you're getting and you know who you're getting it from. It's cheaper in Italy. Certain things are more expensive, but when you factor in everything else, it is cheaper. Cost of housing is cheaper. Of course, bear in mind that I came from Vancouver, so anywhere practically would be cheaper. But no, even factoring that into account, Italy is a lot cheaper when it comes to either buying or renting. Cost of food is a heck of a lot less. Cost of gas for a car is more. Utilities are more. So things like gas for heating, electricity costs more. It's rare that you find a place with a dryer, for example. You hang your clothes out or put them on a rack. My advice to anybody thinking about a move like this, to whatever country it is, find an expert to help you through the process. If I needed help in anything, I would hire a professional at home. Why would I think that I would make a move like this without hiring a professional to help me through it? It sounds like you may spend a bit of money up front, but in the long run, it costs you a heck of a lot less when you have somebody that knows the ropes to work your way through it.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Kevin,
I'm Sal.
and in 2022 we moved to Florence. Originally, when we lived in the United States, I was working in corporate in sort of a human resources capacity, and then I left the corporate world to go into higher education teaching HR. It was a busy American work life, working 60, 70 hours a week, rarely taking a day off, and when I did, worrying about work the whole time.
Yeah, and it was kind of the same. I was working for a corporate job, more hours than I'd prefer to admit, but also kind of having our own side business because we were trying to like develop our own idea in our own work environment, but we were working way, way, way too much. But I guess in American standards, kind of normal.
We got married in New York 10 years ago and came to Italy on our honeymoon. We toured around every city that was in the movie Under the Tuscan Sun. It's so cheesy to say that out loud, but that, you know.
It's true.
Yeah, that was the big surprise.
I don't think we're the only ones.
No, probably not. And just were so astounded at how different the lifestyle was, how it just felt different. We felt different being here. And Sal joked that we'd have to have people carry him onto the plane to get him to leave, but we went back to the US and immediately started planning our escape. And took a few years of doing, but the whole idea of us starting our own side businesses in addition to our full-time work was part of building that path where we wanted to be able to do some kind of work that we could carry with us when we moved overseas.
So this is our little Tuscan cabin, home, new home, our main living room space, TV. This is where we actually also our dining room as well, because we don't have a dining room. So when we first moved here, we had a standard that we wanted 3 bedrooms, 2 for bedrooms and 1 for an office space, because we intended to have guests and visitors. So if you guys want to come this way, we have our guest room. Pretty simple, straightforward, but enough for someone who's sticking around for like a month. So we've got our dresser, little hanging closet if we need it here, and natural sun coming all the way through. So this is where all of our friends come to stay. Probably one of my favorite rooms in the house. And then in the bedroom, that's not a bedroom anymore, is actually the office, because we both work from home. So we kind of made this our shared office space. We have Kevin's half, then we have my half. You can clearly see the different personalities between the two of us. He is more of the command center desk, and I have more of the architecturally interesting desk. This was probably the most challenging room because I think when I moved here I was expecting a lot more, but this is our kitchen. It's tucked away, no window, super, super small, but thankfully I'm a Virgo and organizing is one of the things I'm excited about doing. I think we're able to make it work pretty well for ourselves. I took off all the cabinet doors, made it open concept, just so I can quickly grab everything, and yeah, at the end of the day, it does its job. And I was surprised how well acclimated we were able to get to working in this kitchen. And this is definitely the smallest kitchen I've ever had in my life, but I think I'm the happiest with it. And then here we have our master bedroom. This bed was here already, and we were able to move it over to this space and make this our primary bedroom space. So it's a little darker, but it's a lot more private, and it's the biggest room in the whole apartment. Moved into this area, this was originally laid out to be the dining room because of the fireplace, and there was a lot more, it's closer to the kitchen, but we made this the living room because it had easy access from all rooms. What they had originally used as the living room is actually up here. So we call this our wine vault, since the wine doesn't get hit by the sunlight so much. So this is kind of like where we keep our wine and my collection of wine corks that I've collected all throughout Europe. Watch your head. And then here we have our loft library space. No technology up here. Originally they had this as the living room, but we set this up for just like a cozy nook moment where we can read, have a cocktail, listen to some vinyl records, but then it puts us out here into probably the best space in the entire apartment is our garden terrace. We eat, we drink, we nap, I tan. Sometimes I'll even work out here if the weather's right, but this is where we have kind of like a good little escape if we don't want to leave too far from home. I mean, why would you want to? This is basically the best bar in Florence right here. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Our little tree house of a Florence apartment. Best home I think I've ever had. So certainly happy if you can't tell. Love to show it off. Anytime we're at a bar, restaurant, shopping, we always try to make an effort, especially if someone's being nice to us, to get to know them by name. And it's very sweet, but it's somewhat embarrassing, but it's really heartwarming for us that we can walk on our particular street and we get told hello by so many shopkeepers who will collect our mail for us because they're so kind to us, say hello, offer us a glass of Prosecco for walking by if there's something extra. I mean, we have a wine guy, we have restaurant people, we have people who own a pub that we're just really, really friendly and familiar with. And I think that really exceeded our expectations. Now that we're here, we feel the most secure and the most happiest we've ever been. And we're fortunate that when our friends come and visit, they see that and they take the time to mention that to us, that they see the best of us now that we live here.
It's validating when they come and they see that we're living our best lives here.
So you can elaborate more on this too, but we found out that we needed to find an apartment before we were even legally told we were allowed to live here. So in order for our visa to be approved, we had to have a signed lease, which makes no sense when you think about it, that we had to have a signed agreement that we had a place to live.
And a receipt showing we paid for it.
Before we were even allowed in this country to live here. So that's part of why we signed our apartment almost 6 months before we were even told we could live in it. And so it's an investment risk.
To live here legally and work legally, it's very bureaucratic. You have to go through a process of getting a visa from the country you want to move to that says you're allowed to move to that country. Here in particular, we had to get working visas, which are very hard to come by. As self-employment visas, they only give out a few hundred a year normally, and so that required a lot of paperwork, some professional assistance in order to make that happen. I have two pieces of advice that are very closely related. One, do your homework, and two, get help. You need to do a lot of research to understand all the government processes you're going to have to go through. It's incredibly complicated. There's lots of rules. Whatever the requirements are, you need to exceed those requirements. And take advantage of professional assistance like Smart Move Italy that can help walk you through not only what the rules say, but what actually happens on the ground. The other thing I would say is I think it's super important when you move, especially to a country like Italy, you need to quickly build community. You need to have the people that know your name and that are happy to see you and that are there to help you if you have any questions or if you need a friendly ear. It's so great for us to be able to walk down our street and see people who are excited to see us because they've gotten to know us. That makes this feel like home, at least for me.
Hi, my name is Dreck Baker. I'm originally from the greater Houston area in the United States. And in January of this year, about 2 months ago, me and my granddaughter moved here to Florence, Italy. About 2010, I was just thinking about the future, and I decided I wanted to do something different with the rest of my life, especially with my retirement. I was a Houston police officer. I had about 18 years on the department, and I wound up doing 30 years before I retired in 2022. And after I retired, I was raising my granddaughter, and Italy just kind of presented itself as, it just felt like a positive, like a different positive change that I could make. And I thought about the things that I look forward to in living here, and I thought they would be good for her. Living in a smaller city, but a more maneuverable city. We lived outside Houston in the suburbs, and you really can't go anywhere without your own transportation. So I knew that I could move to Italy, to Florence, and use public transportation, or even be able to walk. We walk most of the places we go now. So that wasn't a problem. And it would be good for her to learn a second language and meet people from all over the world and just have a broader view of life like I hope to get for myself. This is our kitchen. It's like a linear kitchen. It was completely furnished, so we've got a dishwasher here. We've got a 4-burner stove over here, and we have a small built-in refrigerator with enough cabinets for just the two of us. Everything's unfurnished, so we don't have living room furniture yet, but this will be our dining area. If you look out this window and you look to the south, you can actually see the cupola of the Duomo. My granddaughter likes to look out there and say, "The dome, I see the dome." So you come this way, then this is kind of a second living room, could be a third bedroom. It's going to be her playroom, so most of our things are still being shipped. They haven't arrived yet, a lot of toys and books. So if we go back this way, go past the front door here, there's the larger bathroom here. It's got a toilet, a bidet, a stand-up shower. Then this is my bedroom. In my bedroom, again, no closets, so I've had to put wardrobes in on one side and add a bed, a dresser, a couple of nightstands. You go past the main bathroom and you go to the room that's my granddaughter's room. When we moved in, the previous tenant had left a single-size bed. In her room, she's got the bedroom with the ensuite bathroom with a shower, toilet, and a small sink. And another big window, lots of light in, that she likes to open up to help her get ready in the morning, go to school. And that's it, that's our whole apartment. Prior to being ready to move, I did a bit of research, and there's a few different types of visas. For me, the only practical one was the elective residency visa. It's the visa for people who are going to be retired. So when I kind of figured that out, then through the internet, through Facebook, I came across the company Smart Move Italy, and they offered online classes in the experience of moving to Italy and different types of visas that you could apply for, and a lot of just information, a lot of grounding information. So after several years of getting to the point where I could financially work it out, and then I had my granddaughter and I had retired, it was time. So I contacted Smart Move Italy, and we went from there. The first thing, I did a consultation with her, and she said, considering my granddaughter, Florence would be a good place because it's a big enough city, there's enough things to do, but they also had the international schools. And she suggested find the school first, because that would tell me what part of the city I needed to try to live in. And then we went about finding a place to live. Well, my dream was, it was a retirement dream, so it was a lot of freedom. It was getting up in the morning and going and watch the sunrise, or in the evening being able to go on an evening tour, going to Sicily or going to Spain for 2 or 3 days. However, with my granddaughter, everything's different. It's much more of a day-to-day life. So I'm still working out how to find a balance between the responsible part of raising her and the joy part of just experiences in general.
Like and subscribe for more stories on the way.